Mics off, please.
Oh, show is starting.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Actors Theater Unscripted. My name is Erica Denise, and I'm the Director of Learning and Creative Engagement here at Actors Theater. And I'm so excited about this panel today. We have a wonderful, wonderful group of panelists here today. And our topic is going to be I was arrested for protesting why I would do it again. So I just want to go ahead and bring everyone onto the screen and have them introduce themselves. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Jenay, let's start with you.
Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Jenay Pennix-Ellington. I am a sophomore political science major at Fisk University from Louisville, Kentucky.
Chea. Chea, you're on mute. Pastor Tim, go ahead while Chea gets her sound
Can you hear me
together.
now?
Oh, now we can hear you.
Okay, you ready? Sorry about that. It's a lag. I'm JK, the CEO of Chea Media, and under that, can you hear me? It's going in and out. Okay, I'm JK. Well, go ahead.
Pastor Tim.
I'm JK.
Fellowship Christian Life Center.
Adrian.
Founder of the Justice and Freedom Coalition. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Erica.
Thank you, Pastor Tim. Adrian.
Hey, I'm Adrian Baker. I am a preacher. I am an associate minister at Christway Baptist Church. I also hold a professional license in a few states, insurance license, been running agencies for 20 years, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Karen.
Hey everybody, my name is Karen Johnson. I am one of the Louisville 87, one of the Louisville 87. I was just a protester, but now I'm more than that. And yeah, that's what it is. Erica.
Thank you so much. Big baby, Jamel. Turn on your mic, babe. Turn on your mic, Jamel. We didn't hear you.
We saw all the swag, but we heard nothing. We saw all the swag.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Hear you now, yes. Say all of that all over again.
Hello, my name is Jamelle Lewis. I am a healthcare worker with Humana. I'm also one of Louisville 87, and I'm also a peacekeeper with the Justice and Freedom Coalition under Pastor Tim Findley.
All right. Thank you all so very much for being here. I'm going to jump right on in. But before we jump right on in, I do want to say that if you donate to Actors Theater today, we are sharing those donations with La Casita. So please, if you feel so led, hit the donate button at the bottom of your screen or go to actorstheater.org to donate.
I can't hear you.
So now I'm going to jump right on in. Let's just do a mental health check-in. Where are we at right now? How are you feeling mentally in this moment?
I'm blessed, actually.
Jenay
So I'm doing good, very good.
Okay.
Jenay is blessed. Pastor Tim, where you at mentally?
I'm being intentional. So trying to balance everything that's going on in the city, pastor the church, and everything else that's going on. So I try to be as intentional as possible, just in my personal time, and trying to have sort of a turn-off time.
All right. Adrian, where you at right now mentally?
I echo Pastor Tim with balance, trying to balance. It feels more like juggling right now, but it is happening. That's where I am, just trying to find balance.
Right. Chea, how you feeling?
Thank-
Okay, I think Chea is having difficulties with sound. Jamel, can you hear me? Can you turn
I
off your
can hear you
mic?
now.
Okay,
I can hear you now, and I went back and came back in.
okay. Chea, I was just asking you how you feeling right now mentally. I cannot hear you, Chea. Can you try to get a better connection and come back in? Big baby.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but it's very
Okay.
delayed. It's very, very delayed. Jamel, check in real quick. How you
Yeah.
how you feeling mentally?
I'm all right. I'm doing well. I took a couple of days for myself to gather my thoughts and processes and things like that. So I'm good.
Awesome. Okay, so I just want to jump right in. Why are you guys protesting? Why are you on the front lines? Why is that important to you? And I know ain't none of y'all shy, so come on.
Well, for me, it's a part of my sort of Christian faith, in terms of what's happening right now, and then just as a lifelong resident of the city, um, what we're seeing right now, I think it's not so much I would say, why isn't everybody? Just based off of how things seem to be swinging, not just in our city, but in the country. I think that there ought to be uh, a collective protest. It may not all be the same way, but especially every Black and brown person, ought to have some level of protest, or speaking out based off of treatment that we're seeing from the White House on down to elected officials in our city.
So, okay, let me just ask the question that everybody wants to know. You guys were arrested for protesting. What was that process like? Can you just walk us through the moment? What happened before, during, and after you were arrested? And then, would you do it again?
Would you like me to start? I'll go ahead.
Sure, jump right on in.
But I'm gonna let them say it.
Okay, so the process of being arrested, it was just like being arrested. Somebody asked me the other day, like, how was jail? It was jail. So it wasn't fun. It wasn't any. Now what we found there, amongst ourselves, was something transcendent and different. But it was the experience being. I'm one of the Louisville 87. So when Until Freedom asked those just to trust us and that you might go to jail, I had my son was getting his braces the next day. And so I had to pay. I was like, hold on, I gotta take care of business before that. So I had to take care of business. do all kind of things just in case. Of course, I was trying to make sure we put pressure on the cops, pressure on Attorney General Daniel Cameron, but it wasn't a situation where I felt like, oh yeah, whatever we're going to do, we're going to, go for the rah-rah and get arrested just to get arrested. No, we wanted to make sure it was fruitful. Whatever we were going to do was fruitful. And so I wanted to be a part of that good fruit. And it did turn out to be very fruitful. When we were arrested, we were chained to each other. So I was chained next to my brother, Kenny Stills, who I did not know was Kenny Stills at the time. He was just my little brother. And so they had all the girls chained together as well. The image that comes to your mind, it takes you back to those slavery days. It takes you back to that imagery of us chained together in dire straits. So it was very difficult for the imagery that we were even a part of, in still trying to maintain integrity, trying to maintain our dignity and our strength in the midst of those things, and especially when we got to the Department of Corrections. So I'll let Big Baby speak from there.
I'll say when I first joined the fight, I initially joined because the news media wasn't projecting the truth of what was happening down at the protest. So I initially was using my social media to record the videos and things of what was going on. And then it just progressed as the days went on. And then when I was arrested on July the 14th, on that Tuesday, I believe that's the date, it became more apparent to me what my purpose in life is. I found my purpose while I was arrested. I've been playing the piano for a while. I've been doing a lot of other things, but I found out my voice in these protesting streets is my purpose. Because there's a little boy that I see on 6th and Jefferson every day that's 14 years old that looks up to me every time I come down there. So I actually found my purpose while sitting in the jail. And I met a lot of interesting people while sitting in jail. So whereas as I went in, I was a little bit scared. I hadn't been locked up in a long time. So it was
not in a long time.
Yeah, in a long time. I had been locked up before, but but this time I was standing on the right side of history. And I met a lot of interesting people in there who helped me to understand my purpose for being arrested, that it was a divine destination while we were sitting in there. Adrian, I knew Adrian before this. Adrian began to sing while we were locked up. We actually had church at midnight. One of the Reverend Stephen Green, he put his preacher collar on. They let him have his preacher collar, and he brought a word at midnight. So while we were sitting in an egregious situation, in this jail cell, it was nasty, it was dirty. We built a bond with one another. We seen the purpose of why we were doing what we were doing, and without a doubt, I'd do it again. I've lost a lot of things in the process, a lot of people along the way, but I definitely do it again. It's definitely my calling. It's definitely my purpose to fight for injustices in these streets, and especially put pressure on LMPD.
Thank you, Jamel. Jenay, what was your experience being arrested?
Well, I actually enjoyed my experience while in jail because I was in there with a lot of great women that I didn't know were such great people. If like looking at them, I wouldn't know how much they've done, how much they have overcome, and how much they have the ability to help me in my life. So I was grateful to be able to be in there with them. We laughed, we cried, we sang, we prayed, we did a lot of things throughout the whole night just to keep our energy up and to understand that we're all the same and we're fighting for the same cause. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time in jail.
Pastor Tim.
Well, I'm not a part of the prestigious Louisville 87, and I say that with much respect, because they initially went down this road here in Louisville, and I think that they do the credit that they get and the camaraderie that they built, I think is wonderful. I was a part of the next sort of wave. The first time what happened to me on Shelbyville Road, I didn't actually go to jail. I got detained. So all in all, I would say the experience is what Adrian said. It's jail. I had, before I put on my collar, I had been in those conditions before, and yeah, it is what it is. But to what Jamel said, it's different now. As believers, or social activists, organizers, when you know that you're going into a situation because of the convictions that you have regarding social justice, inequities, and all those things, you go into it differently. So for me, I was willing to go to jail and continue to be willing to go to jail if that's what it takes to put the pressure, shine a light on the grievances in our community. And I think that's, again, it's a noble, necessary undertaking, that if we see something that is wrong, if we see something that is unjust, the question becomes, how willing are we, and how far are we willing to go to bring a spotlight to that particular issue? And I'm just thankful that we're living in a time where there are so many people who will do just that.
Absolutely. Chea, can you hear us? Do you want to give us what your experience was?
As it was jail, it was not an experience. I went to jail for doing my job, and that's the one thing I do have to constantly correct, because it wasn't just about protesting. I was working that night. I was covering, as I do every day, as I have for 104 days. Well, 105 days, been so long. I was working, and that was the night that they were on a hunt for independent media and folks who were live streaming. And that was no secret. You can look at all of the evidence. You can look at the lives and see exactly who was targeted. We were arrested for doing our job, for telling an unedited and unfiltered truth. So it was not a pleasant experience. As I've told everyone, as I've stated publicly, when my live ended, the narrative changed, and LMPD wanted to have a very specific conversation with me, and they did. So my experience was definitely not pleasant. It was jail, and it was a message that they wanted me to get.
And Chea, what do you think that message was that they wanted you to get? Were they trying to intimidate you, to silence you, to stop the live streamers from streaming live? Is that what it was?
It wasn't what I think, it's what I know. When the live ended, they sent a few officers to have a conversation, and one in particular, and it was about changing the narrative. They wanted to task me with taking back their side of the story. They wanted to task me with taking back their narrative. You have to understand, I've been in media a long time. Stories come from, whether it's your police source, in this case, LMPD, it comes from Halliday, who writes communications. It goes right to a news feed, and they jump with it. When it comes to independent media, that doesn't happen. I don't have a corporate feed in my ear. I own Chea Media and all entities under it, and that I produce and everything. So I don't have to listen to that feed. And what has happened is we were given, and we still give, that exact, unedited, unfiltered, what we see is what you see. It's not always pretty, but it's the true narrative. And that can't be controlled. And when you have something that becomes either something you attempt to squash, that's basically what it is. A narrative needed to take the narrative, and that's what I refuse to do.
Right. Karen, what was your experience? You're on mute.
Well, I want to tell you this, Erica. I think you asked, I guess, them, my phone went out. I'm sorry, you guys, about my mental or, emotions. Well, my emotions were everywhere. I didn't know what I was getting myself into until I had a meeting or training with Untitled Freedom. And when I went into the training and we was told to trust them, I didn't know where we was going or what we was doing. Okay. Nobody did. And then when we got to Ballard, and then we marched to the Daniel Cameron, to either not be on the street or the yard. And my choice was very clear. I was like, you know what? This is my time. I'm doing it for Breonna Taylor. I am going to stay in the yard. And I did. Little did I know, I was surrounded around great people, queens and kings I was surrounded by. So they made my experience a little bit easier when I got to like I said, my emotions everywhere. I was nervous. I had a little bit of anxiety. I think one point in time I got on live and maybe shed a tear because I didn't know what to expect because I'd never been in jail before. But they made it worth it. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be 10 toes down and until we get justice for Breonna Taylor. With that being said, I'm not the same person who I was. Okay, I'm not. This experience protesting and seeing everything that the cops have done and said have changed the narrative of them. Okay, to make me realize that the whole system needs to be redone. The whole justice system needs to be redone. I don't trust Mayor Fisher. I don't trust Daniel Cameron. I don't trust any of them, and it's just to the point to where and then seeing what we go through at the square, Justice Square, because there's a lot of people down at Justice Square who've been down there 10 toes down, who goes down there a lot. We see what's really going on. So again, it's just a point to where we have to, I guess, check ourselves and our emotions because of what we dealt with. So again, I would do it all over again. And would I go to jail? Absolutely, 100 times over again with the people I was with, because they try to break us, Erica. When we went into jail, they try to break us. It was 25 of us in the cell. During the pandemic. They wasn't sanitary, really sanitary. I got checked for temperature. They wasn't wiping it off with any kind of cleaning supplies or nothing. They just checked me, went to the one person, and checked the other person. But again, and like I said, Adrian said, my brother said, we were treated like dogs, like caged animals. But again, I'm not the same person who I used to be, and that's just what it is. And I'm around for Breonna Taylor and any other injustice that comes my way.
Can I say something as well?
Yeah, jump in.
I just want to, we keep hearing, especially from my Louisville 87 saying, yeah, we had kings and queens amongst us and things like that. What this did was uncovered the king and the queenness and royalty that was already in Louisville. And that's what I wanted to make sure we hammered home, that we were amongst great people that had held it in their own. But what we did, we uncovered the royalty that was right here. And we realized that we had more power than we thought. And when we put that power together, we were unstoppable and still unstoppable. So I want to just encourage you all that it's not about the kings and queens that are around us. It's about the king that is queen that is inside us. We're going to keep on, this got to keep on moving.
Fact.
This got to keep on moving.
Deep.
I love y'all.
Man, we love you. Every day, all day.
87, feel me?
Louisville 87. But justice for Breonna.
And the community is appreciative of you all for being there and being down on the front lines and being willing to be arrested so that we can seek justice. And so I just saw today that the Attorney General Cameron has submitted the case for review by the Supreme Court. Is that right? And that we should be getting some results by next week. So what happens if the police officers are not charged? What's next for the protesters? And then what happens if they are charged? Will that be enough, or are we fighting for something more after they've been charged?
We're definitely fighting for something more. This is a movement, not a moment. So we're gonna keep this thing moving. We got so much work to do. I hope the outcome is in our favor, but you asked if it's not, and honestly, I can't give you that answer.
I say this, Pastor Findley.
Honestly, I can't give you that answer.
Pastor Findley said this a couple of months ago that I learned, which actually brought reality to myself. He said this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. So we're in it for the long haul. So we're prepared to take whatever hits that we have to take, and we're ready to take whatever whatever other matters that we need to do. We'll move forward. We're gonna keep meeting. We're gonna keep coming together. We're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep marching. We're gonna keep protesting. We're gonna keep putting pressure on in this justice system. We're gonna keep on moving, regardless. However the outcome is gonna be, we're still gonna be doing what we're gonna do.
So Tierra has joined our live. Can you just introduce yourself and what you do for a living, and then tell us about your experience going to jail and what that was like?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, and I apologize for the technical difficulties. But my name is Tiara Mills. I'm a poet, writer, business owner, mother. And you asked me about being arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was arrested, and I will most definitely do it again if I had to. Not only did I do it for Breonna Taylor, but I did it for my daughter as well. I have a 4-year-old, and she could have easily been Breonna Taylor. My mother could have easily been Breonna Taylor. I could have been Breonna Taylor. And so with me being a woman of faith, it's not enough for me to just pray. It's not enough for me to just say God will make a way, and I feel like God is going to make a way by using us to stand up for the racial injustice, by using us to protest. And if I have to go to jail, then so be it, as long as there has to be a change to my daughter's future and others as well. So there won't be any more Breonna Taylors. There won't be any more George Floyd.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for doing that so that our city can fight for the justice that we so desire and that we need and we deserve. So there's been a lot of controversy surrounding the NFAC. If someone wants to tell us what that acronym stands for, you can feel free. However, my mom's watching, so I don't want to say it.
I'll be the first.
And y'all don't let the preacher say it. Don't let the preacher say it now.
I'll be the first to say I'm not sure about the NFAC because I'm not a part of their group. So I just decline my comment.
Okay, but what does it stand for people that don't know?
Not messing around coalition.
Okay. So it's the Not Messing Around Coalition, head by Jam Master J. But there's some controversy around it. Are we not going to go there with this conversation? Because the people want to know what's going on. Because it felt like when they first came here a few weeks ago and they made these demands and they said, we're going to burn down the city. Like everybody was rallying around them. If we don't get justice, we're coming back. In 4 weeks, we're going to burn it down. We don't get justice. and then they kind of reneged on that, and then they showed up again on Derby, and a lot of people kind of changed their stance on how they felt about that group. And I don't know enough about it to say whether I stand with them or not, but how do you all feel about the NFAC?
Well, I'm glad they reneged on it now. I mean, we live here, so I'm glad they reneged on burning it down. But I'm all with the threats and anything you can do to position the governmental officials and push them and pressure them to do something. Hey, I'm not the one that's going to hold the guns, but we need somebody who's going to hold the guns. We need every person, every classification, everything. We need them all for this fight. We got to be one. It doesn't matter who it is. So I might not agree with the tactics. Malcolm and Martin always had difference of opinions. So, but at the same time, do I see value in what, in fact, has provided? Because I can't do that. I can't have 1,000 people with guns. That's not me. So I'm appreciative, but if somebody knows more about their motives, that shows. That's all I can say. I don't know, but I'm in support of anybody that wants to provide pressure for the LMPD, for the Attorney General Daniel Cameron to do something about Breonna Taylor's killers.
Anybody else want to?
Somebody need to mute.
Yeah. Anybody else want to make a comment about the NFAC? And it's Grandmaster Jay. Sorry about. I think I said Jam Master Jay. He was a rapper, was he not? I don't know.
He was in. What did I say?
He was killed.
Okay.
I'll say this, and I'm going to choose my words very, very carefully. Just in relation to Saturday, where we had an amazing nonviolent protest at Churchill Downs. I'm all about us coming together to deal with whatever injustice is out there in whichever way, whichever lane you're in. I'm just about us making sure that our people are safe, and no one, whether they're from Louisville or from the outside, putting our people in harm's way. So I'm gonna put that out there as sort of the statement. But I will address what was said in the media about protesters being undisciplined, unorganized, and all of that. And I can speak, I will tell you, that is absolutely not the truth. We were very organized. We were very disciplined. As a matter of fact, I was there, and he had mentioned that something changed. Well, I'll go on record and say this, and I have not said it before. The thing that changed was, or somebody changed it. That somebody was me. That what was originally planned, I changed that day. I got up that morning, went to Churchill Downs, walked that route myself, timed myself, and then put that against the actual start of the march at 4:30, or the rally, the start of the march at 5:15, and then ending at a particular spot. If anybody knows me, if you've been to my church, you know that I'm sort of a time person. So that was really important to me. And to be honest, where I wanted us to be for camera purposes, and in a particular time frame, was where they were. And I just felt like it was a much stronger picture of Louisville, the Louisville frustration and tension, for us to be in that spot. And I'll leave that there. But it was very strategic, very timed out. And again, I have no problem with the NFAC in terms of their lane. You know, I just want to make sure that we're always safe, and that we're not, by word or deed, ever putting innocent people in harm's way. And on Saturday, I think it was a beautiful, beautiful protest, and that's what I'll say.
So, Pastor Tim, would you say that you actually that was you followed your plan to a T and you succeeded in what you set out to do? Because I know there were a lot of people that said that you set out to stop the Kentucky Derby, but horses ran on and it was not stopped.
I'll tell you this, and Chea can speak to this because Chea has been in the rooms where we talked about this. There was talk about stopping the race. I told people if that's your conviction and you can do that without getting yourself hurt, killed, or someone else, then you follow God. But it was never my thought, and I want to make sure everyone hears this. It was never my thought that we were actually going to stop the race. The point was on the year's biggest sporting event stage, with every single news station covering it, unlike any other weekend in the 12-month span, we knew at that moment we could send a message. And to answer your question, did it happen on, was it planned out, and did we accomplish it on a T? Absolutely. From a time perspective, to a strategy perspective, to us walking down Central on the opposite end, because they thought we were coming from another end. We came on an opposite end, and the Derby camera actually turned and covered us. There were CNN who walked the entire few hours with us. So did we accomplish? Was that the only thing? Absolutely not. Is the fight over? Certainly not. But I think you would be foolish to miss an opportunity. That's what a protest is. A protest, civil disobedience, but getting your message out. That's the point. And that happened. And again, the very, very small sort of confrontation that I had with the NFAC, hopefully that does not sour a relationship. Hopefully that doesn't cause Grandmaster Jay and others to look at protesters as some kind of wild card. And it may be that we are a wild card. Maybe that's a good thing. But my heart is to get justice for Breonna Taylor. It is to shine a light on leadership in this city. It is to see the policing disease that's exacted on Black people to change. And I'm willing to do that within my own theological framework by any means necessary.
Okay. So there has been a lot of mention about the group Until Freedom. Who, and I'm going to ask a series of questions. What is Until Freedom? Who's the leader of that group? And how do you feel about the people, the naysayers that are saying that you guys are following celebrities that have come into the city that don't live here, and they just kind of show up for a moment and then they leave, and then we're stuck to fend for ourselves again?
Go ahead, big baby.
Well, so Until Freedom is 4 leaders are Tamika Mallory, Linda Sassar, my son, and Angelo Pinto, which are 4 excellent leaders.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're my friends, they're family. They're more than just celebrities that come for a moment and leave. These people actually left their families to come to Louisville to fight with our fight. They put their life on the line. They put their everything on the line for justice for us. So the people, the naysayers that sit on their computers typing stuff about stuff they don't even know anything about. At first, it was frustrating me. I was following every comment on Facebook to try to defend them, but they don't even need that, honestly, because they could actually do what they do sitting at their house. They don't need any clout because they already have that position. But they're very good people, and I'll just say that they're very good people whom I have a high respect for.
Okay, anybody else want to talk about Until Freedom?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm definitely want to chime in because wow. So, like I said, I've been out here protesting and been just kind of I'm a very observant person and I've watched a lot happen within the city and I don't want to talk bad about any organization that is out here because I love them all. But what Until Freedom did was brought a little bit more structure. Okay. They brought like great leadership with them, like the organizing, I mean, from canvassing to like just and like teaching us things, like teaching me something that I didn't even know. So, I mean, and again, we've been around them, like the meetings we've been around and direct action, they brought national attention to Louisville, Kentucky. I want to say this because at the time they first arrived here, they had police helicopters surveying them every way, every moment they went. They was following them everywhere. And when they say celebrities, that's out the window, okay? Because they are genuine people who care about Louisville, Kentucky. Again, I'm gonna chime in on what Big Baby said. They left their homes to come here.
Yeah.
We needed them, and they provided their help for us. Like again, I'm not talking bad about any organization because I rock with Kentucky Alliance and the Justice Freedom Coalition and No Justice No Peace. I rock with everybody, but Until Freedom is who I sought out to and who I stuck to because of the leadership and the training and the organization. They just didn't like just sit there and watch it. They actually did it. They moved with us. So Until Freedom is embedded into my heart and I respect them and all the leaders to the utmost. And I'm glad they down here helping us because they're not
Yeah.
just, like verbally helping us, but they're doing a lot of other things too, like providing us more resources as well.
Adrian, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I gotta jump in. In um during the height of the critique, our leader Tamika Mallory, she was dealing with was going through. Hello?
Okay, Adrian, I muted you because we can only hear like every other word. So do you want to maybe try to come back in, and then we can
Okay.
get a comment? Okay.
Sorry, I tried to come back out.
It's fine. Anybody else have any comments about Until Freedom?
Well, I just want to say that I had can you hear me okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I just want to say that I actually had the honor and the privilege of being in the same jail cell as Linda, one of the leaders of Until Freedom. And I just want to say that just with my experience with that, she is an amazing leader. She came in and she made sure that all of us stay focused and grounded by asking us what our names are, where we're from, why we're doing what we're doing. So we were all the women in there, we really felt empowered. We felt uplifted. And it was just a good experience with her. And she was genuine about it. It wasn't just something that she did just to do it. You could tell that she actually took the time and listened to every single woman and made what you say feel valued, and she made you feel heard. And so, yeah, Until Freedom, I would say they're the real deal.
That's good, and thanks for clearing that up because I know a lot of people are skeptical and they see the celebrities coming in and they feel like it's for clout or for the photo,
Yeah.
and it's good that you all are clearing that up.
Yeah.
They got their own clout. We don't.
And
They
I
don't
don't
need
think
us.
that skeptics.
Go ahead, Pastor.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, I don't think that skepticism is wrong either. I think that with anybody that comes in, that it's good to be skeptical. It's good to sit back and wait, or, you know, things like that. And I think that Until Freedom, along with other organizations that have come into the city, for those who are legit and, you know, about the work of justice and reform and whatever the case may be, we ought to welcome them with open arms. And for the organizations that are not, they should absolutely be called out. But you're not going to know a person's genuine heart and their genuine sort of motive until you're around them. And I think it requires that you're somewhat skeptical. And then once they pass that test, then I think you embrace them.
Absolutely. So, okay, the Derby weekend, there was a standoff at the square. Was anybody down there when the Viking and the white militia were carrying guns? They marched from Cox Park to the square, and there was a standoff with the protest. Does anybody have any insights of what actually happened with that and why the police were so late showing up?
I was down there. I can't tell you why the police was late showing up, but they were.
What happened, Jamel? Walk us through that day.
Well,
I would definitely like to speak to that.
I'll let Chea go ahead. Go ahead, Chea.
Chea,
Yes.
she just disappeared.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. They marched from Cox Park to Waterfront Park and came down to Injustice Square. The head guy said the reason why he came down is because of the threat of INFACT. He said he came down for no other reason but to protect the building that they said they was going to burn down. The guy actually, you know, he kept saying he wanted to basically be in unity. That's what he kept saying. But I mean, they threw smoke bombs down there to, as they were leaving. They said it was a retreat tactic. But I will say this: there was no Until Freedom, there was no INFACT, there was no out of town groups that were at the square at this time. It was Louisville, and Louisville showed its solidarity. They were fearless. It was a lot of us down there who stood our ground. We didn't let them intimidate us. We didn't let the fact that the LMPD wasn't there to help us, because we weren't looking for the help. We just wanted to understand, why is it anything that goes on at 6th and Jefferson, LMPD shows up. But on this day, they were absent. So I'll let Chea, since she's back, she can go ahead and finish.
Yeah, go ahead, Chea.
Take your phone off mute.
Well, I definitely have to speak to this because it's been a bone of contention for me the last few days. You have to understand, when you are somewhere every day and you see faces and you put names with faces, you hear life stories, you talk to young folks who literally have no family or home now because their parents put them out because they're protesting. And I am a mother and a grandmother before I'm anything. So I always look at folks through that eye. And I've been out of the pulpit for years. A lot of folks don't know that, but I've been out of the pulpit for years. So I always try to say, my media is my ministry. But what has happened over these 100 and some days, when I go to the square, these folks have become family because I see them. I see their sacrifice. I see what they go through. See, the camera, just because I don't have a camera on doesn't mean I'm not connected to them. And so they have a piece of my heart. Saturday, I stood there and I watched at the beginning about 50 folks or so that I know come some way, shape, or form, even if I don't know their name. I watched these 50 folks standing here. And then I see a crowd of hundreds of people coming with guns and hatred. And unless you were there, you don't feel it. It was palatable. It was like nothing I've ever felt. Now I'm almost 46 years old. And trust me, I've been everywhere. I've covered Ferguson. I've done field work, been through a lot. It takes a lot to surprise me. But that, when I looked at those folks, I looked at this crowd coming, and I realized that these people, there's no one here. There's no LMPD. I realized it was basically like a setup, people being led to slaughter, because all it took was one moment and one bullet, and you would have bodies laying in that square. And LMP, Greg Fisher, and everybody in the administration left those people. These are people, innocent protesters. They're not belonging to groups. They're not vigilantes. These are people who are just trying to get justice for Breonna Taylor and fight for what's right. And as I stood there and I'm broadcasting, and I never cried on broadcast, I did not stop bawling because I could think someone's going to die. And so for me to see that and experience that and to watch these people, I looked in their eyes. They were scared, but they were brave. And then they linked arms to protect the memorial. And they said over their dead body, they were going to let something happen. Then I started seeing them telling each other they loved each other and that I'm going to take a bullet for you. And until you see that, until you see people in their life, you haven't experienced. So as far as the square was left unprotected. And it, as a mother, as a Black woman, as a grandmother, just as a person, humanly, that hurt. It hurt to experience, to see that. It wasn't going to leave these folks in there strapped with handguns. I don't have an AR. I mean, what I mean, my 40, 50 bullets going to do? I was going to sit there and fight with them and dropping the camera. And I tell you what, I have never been prouder of a group of people. I have never been more moved and have so much respect. But those folks stood there. And when I say they were not going to be moved, they were not going to be moved. Even with that, and you had to be there. You had to feel it. You had to know. You had elderly, you had disabled, you had young, you had old, you had Black, you had white. These are people. These are humans. And they were willing to put it all because they didn't know what was coming down that street. And we're getting intel, and they're saying that 5 minutes out, 4 minutes. You got feral guards standing there. Wasn't that many of them, but they were going to protect everybody that they could. And then to see, and I don't care what the angry Viking says. So, and let me say this: that's a dude named Dylan from Florida who started a Facebook page. And what happens is he bit off more than he can chew. And while he may talk about, oh, I'm with you all, that crowd was not saying that. That crowd, there was hate. You knew they had that conversation, but trust me, over and with them since like 6 o'clock in the morning. My stream was interview. I rode in their processional. That Trump parade, I was the Black woman in the midst. And so I got a chance to hear and see. And when I tell you that was hate coming down the street, that was hate coming down the street. It marched into the square. And those folks stood there and said they would not be moved. And again, the most respect from me out of all of this, because they said no matter what, and they knew all it took was one bullet, and they didn't even stand a chance.
Wow.
I'm done.
No, thank you.
Wow.
We can't come
that firsthand. Yeah, just thank you for sharing that firsthand
Can
experience.
I?
Wow. And I was watching live. Yeah, go ahead. Who wants to jump in? Karen.
I just want to jump in. Yeah. So listen, my sister was down there, okay, and I got there a little late, but I made it down there, and I really don't want to say too much behind Chea because Chea said everything, but when I got there, my emotions was at 1,000. All I was worried about was protecting my people. So I stood in front of the Vikings when they had them ARs, and I wasn't going to move. I told them, leave, get out of our way. We don't want you here. And I wasn't scared. At that moment, I wasn't scared, and I wasn't going to be moved. Those people are scared, man. I'm telling you right now. She said it. I'll lay my family. So at that point in time, I was protecting my family. I got in front of one leader who marches, and I was like, no, leave. And the dude had a gun in front of my face, and I wasn't moved. I wasn't afraid because I covered my God. So that was my stance. And it's just they wanted bloodshed, and they didn't get it.
Wow. Adrian.
It's pure evil right there.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Adrian?
That's pure evil right there. That's it. Our Black women, y'all on the front lines for us. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. We will always amplify your voices. We will always protect you all. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Wow. Hearing your firsthand experience, Chea, just really did something to me. It's different when you're watching live and you're not really there to experience, but hearing how emotional you are, I can only imagine what you were feeling when you were right there in front of them. And I just have to say, because I've heard people say that they were there for peace and that they weren't there for bloodshed. But I wholeheartedly believe that they were there wanting some action, and and they didn't get it, and I'm happy that they did not, but I do not believe that they were there for peace or to sing Kumbaya. I don't. So. Oh goodness. So we are right at our hour. We could continue talking longer, I'm sure. Does anybody have any last words that they want to say before we get off? And then I'll have one final question.
I'll just say this. There's a place for everybody in this fight. You don't have to be on the front lines. You don't have to be on your social media. You don't have to be cussing at the police. There's a spot for everybody. I'd say you can reach out to Pastor Tim Findley. He has directions for you. He can place you in places, of need. He can direct you. You can go to Chea. You can go in any of us. If you're listening on this live feed, just get in the fight. Do what you can do. That's all I can say.
Right. Right. And everybody can't be on the front lines. And so if it's donating to a cause that's supporting this movement, do that. If you can donate supplies to protesters, food, water, just show your support in any kind of way that you can. And it's not always with you having to be down on the front lines every day. Anybody else have any last thoughts?
I can always say something.
I'll say I am and trying to get with some people, just preparing for the next week or so. And I think you alluded to it earlier, Erica. We're all praying. We're all praying that indictments come down. That's the prayer, wholeheartedly. But in the event that doesn't happen, we want to have a plan, and we want to make sure that our people are set for the next step. And I even hate bringing this up, but I think in this wicked, racist, corrupt land that we live in, not to be thinking about that would be irresponsible. So, I think going forward, and I think this announcement from the Attorney General, we ought to be preparing ourselves for that. So let's just all come together and be prepared for whatever may happen. But we're praying for an indictment.
I want to say, I'm sorry, Erica, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just, comes with this, it's also going to have some trauma behind it. Like I said, I'm not the same person who I used to be. So I just want to make sure people are aware of themselves and seeking out that help that you might need for you, because you have to be aware of who you are yourself. So, seek counseling if needed. But I just want people to be aware of that.
It's needed. We all need counseling.
Listen, sometimes praying ain't enough. I need to talk to somebody I can hear in real time. Not to say you can't hear God in real time.
To say anyone watching.
Pray.
Or yes, I'm after this.
Pray and have a therapist.
I just want to say,
there you go.
One little bit, because I know we're coming up. Whomever you are, if you're watching, please. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Can I get a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just saying, for the folks who are watching, as I always in my broadcast, I tell folks, don't sit at home and critique from the couch. I want you to get up, get out, and do something. Get down to the square, introduce yourself to somebody, find an organization that you can work with, and get in where you fit in. This is a fight that takes all of us. And if you're sitting at home and you're having a whatever it may be, and this doesn't impact you, let the cops, and they'll tell you just what you are in the car. If you think it doesn't, children, you are very confused. This is something that impacts all of us. It's going to require all of us. There is a role for everyone, and your talents, your gifts, get in where you fit in.
Absolutely. Adrian, last thought?
I'm done.
Can y'all hear me? We good? Okay. When it comes down to it, you got to think about your legacy. I remember having a conversation with my grandfather, and I know that he left me a better world than he was inherited. When I talk to my kids' kids, I want to make sure that, Granddaddy, did you do everything that you could have to give us a better world? And we want to challenge everyone else to think about that conversation that you would have with your kids' kids and the future after that. Did you do your best? Did you use what God gave you to make this world a better place for real with justice? That's it.
I love it. Tierra, any last thoughts from you?
Yeah, I just want to say about what we were talking about earlier with the mental health. That is so important, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with having God and having a therapist as well. I have a therapist. There's everyone needs it, especially during this time. All the videos that we're seeing of all the deaths happening, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. So I just encourage everyone to take care of yourself mentally. Talk to friends that you can trust. Talk to a therapist, and of course, talk to God. And just stay strong. We're all in this together.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for being here. There is one question that we ask on every episode of Actors Theater Unscripted at the very end. Tim Findley, you are aware of this question because you've been on the show before. And so with just one sentence or a few words, we want to know, what is it that you know for sure? Pastor Tim.
That God is a keeper.
God is a keeper. Amen. Adrian.
That God is with us.
God is with us. Jamel, big baby. You on mute. You on mute. That would have been dope if we heard you.
Hey, you can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution. Karen. You on mute too.
Yo, say her name.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Taylor.
Tierra, what do you know for sure?
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. And Chea, what do you know for sure?
Very simple. Do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Get out there and be a part of it.
Amen. Thank you all so much for being here with us. Again, if you would like to support Actors Theater in La Casita, you can go to actorstheater.org. You can also watch this replay again, and the donate button will be at the bottom of the screen. Thank you all so much for joining us each week. Next week, we will be speaking with the council members to tell how it is they do their jobs and how they are here to support the community. Thank you all so much. See you next time.
Yeah, and good luck with that.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.